What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Power Play with CJ. I'm going to focus in on the Edmonton Oilers as part of the 2016-2017 season previews I've been doing. Again, no rhyme or reason. I'll do all 30 teams. Do not comment telling me to do a team because I do them in my order. And what happens is when I'm just kidding. Wasn't gonna be a total dick about it, but just no rhyme or reason. Just whatever I feel like doing that day. That's the team I do. And today is Edmonton. Start with the forward lines. They've got a pretty good center. If you've heard of him, his name's Connor McDavid. Can play the game of hockey at a high level. Obviously, they added Milan Lucic at left wing and lost Taylor Hall. They'll traded Taylor Hall. So that right now it looks like they're going to be opening the season. If I were Coach McClellan, I would have Milan Lucic on the left, CMD on the middle, and number 4 overall pick Jesse Puljujarvi on the right. I know Eberle and McDavid established some chemistry last season, but I think Puljujarvi's upside and what he can do with the puck on his stick makes him a very, very intriguing player to play with Connor McDavid. Now, if he struggles, whatever, you slide Eberle there. It's not a big deal, but I want to see what these two kids can do. And, that's just a testament to the amount of talent that they have. Second line, Benoit Pouliot, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Eberle. I think Nugent-Hopkins is probably the second most likely Oiler forward to get traded during the season. We'll talk about that in a second, because with the emergence of Drysdale and, Nugent-Hopkins' ability to create offensively and, the fact that he could fetch and return a pretty decent defenseman, I think it's one of those things that I'd be, keeping an eye on that if I was teams. If I wanted to add a center like Nugent-Hopkins and I had a defenseman that Edmonton would be interested in, I would make that deal in a second. So that's something to keep an eye on. On the third line, Drysdale with Maroon and Neil Yakupov. I think Yakupov is the most likely Oiler forward to get traded. I talked about that earlier this week. I think the Bruins will be in on him for my fans in Boston. I think they can get him for like DeBrusque in a 2 or something. I think that'd be a fair deal for the Bees. I think Edmonton's at the point where they just want him out of there. So we'll see. We'll see how that plays itself out in the next few months. I don't think anything's imminent. And then the fourth line, I guess, Lander, Letestu, and Cassian. Cassian's playing for his NHL life. Letestu's a nice veteran. Lander can do some things. Have Hendricks as your 13th forward. I think that squad kind of works. So their forwards will be excellent. It's their D I'm very concerned about. Obviously, they were able to acquire Adam Larson, and I think Larson's a hell of a player. I just would not have gotten him at the expense of Taylor Hall. I would have tried to get something else from New Jersey. I mean, even the long rumored Hamonic in a first for Hall, I think would have been a very fair deal. But then again, what do I know? So that's something to keep an eye on is how Larson is going to play now that he's been the guy that was traded for the number 1 pick in the draft. That's kind of those are big shoes to fill. So we'll see what happens. But he does make their blue line better. As critical as I've been of the trade, the bottom line is this is a better blue line than it was last year. But again, you can only go up from there. And if I had to, I don't like making defense pairings because I think the positions there's so many nuances to it, and you have to kind of be there to figure it out. But I'm going to take a stab at my 6 defensemen I see playing on opening night for Edmonton, and who the 7th will be in the press box. I got the aforementioned Adam Larson. I got Darnell Nurse, Andre Sakara. I got Oscar Klefbom, Davidson, and Reinert, with Mark Fan as your 7th going into opening night. Could that change? Yeah, probably will. But I think this is the year Griffin Reinert earns himself a spot. It's also important to remember that he's only 22 years old, Reinert, and it just seems like it's been around long enough that, all right, it's time to stand and deliver, kid. But, he's a big defenseman that can do some things and help you out. So I think that would be, I think he's ready to, earn a spot. So we'll see what happens. But, one of those situations. Goaltending, you got Cam Talbot, who I think is a solid goalie, and Gustafsson as your number 2. So we'll see how that duo plays itself out for the Oilers. But my Projection for this team, I think they'll be better. I think Connor McDavid will have 100 points next year. Which I don't think is a hot take. I think it's the reality of it. I think that Jesse Puyarvi will be a Calder finalist. I think playing with Connor McDavid helps that. I'm very intrigued to see, having, Edmonton's had a really good center from Toronto and a really good Finnish winger before. Gretzky and Curry, I believe are the names. So, and I know you don't really put those kind of expectations on a pair of teenagers, but these aren't any pair of teenagers. They're both really, really fucking good at the game of hockey. So we'll see what happens with those two. I'm excited to watch that chemistry develop. That's one thing that I cannot wait to watch this Oilers team. Again, I'm good friends with Connor McDavid. We all know. We talked for 90 seconds once. It was amazing. It was the best 90 seconds of his life. Congratulations, Connor. You know me. No big deal. And then I think, Nugent Hopkins will get flipped. And I think Yakupov will get flipped. And I think with Yakupov especially, clean slate, change of scenery would be very, very good for his long-term development. And I'm not ready to call him a bust. He's, I think, 3 months younger than Jimmy Vesey. And everyone in the hockey world wants to suck Vesey's dick. But Vesey has played 0 games in the NHL. And Yakupov has struggled in the NHL, but he's been up for, 4 years now. So we'll see how that plays itself out. But I think Yakupov will get a change of scenery, and I think it'll be best for him and the Oilers. So we'll see what happens with that. I think Nugent Hopkins will probably get traded. I think Leon Draisaitl is ready to be that number 2 center for the Oilers, and I think Milan Lucic will have a good year next year. I didn't like the contract because I didn't like the length on it. When you got a 28-year-old power forward with a lot of miles on him, but the first 3 or 4 years of that contract, he's going to be a beast. The play's going to tamper off towards the end, but McDavid to Lucic would be like Brady to Gronk, just having that big body down low that can, really fuck with defenses and, be a nice net front presence. So, again, I think he's going to open up a lot of time and space for McDavid and Puyarvi to do their thing. And if they're doing their thing, then there's going to be a lot of goals scored. Again, I don't see Edmonton as a playoff team next year, but I think they'll be fun. And because of McDavid, because of Puyarvi, and some of their pieces that they have, if you have the NHL package. I know Bill Simmons does the league pass teams in the NBA. They may not be that good, but if they're up, you're watching them. I think Edmonton is probably the number 1, league pass team. Anyway, that's all I got in this episode of the Power Play with CJ. Stay tuned for episodes throughout the off season and beyond. Later, guys.